From translation, Net New English Translation. This 289 day of the year. Today we are reading passages Mark 4-5. Mark chapter 4 verses 1-41. Once again Jesus began to teach beside the lake. Such a large crowd gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat in it, while the whole crowd was beside the lake on the shore. He taught them many things in parables, and in his teaching said to them, "Listen, a sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some seed fell on the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Other seed fell on rocky ground, where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because it had no depth of soil. When the sun came up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. Other seed fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no grain. Other seed fell on good soil and produced grain, growing up and increasing and yielding 30 and 60 and 100-fold. And he said, Whoever has ears to hear had better listen." When he was alone, those who were around him along with the 12 asked him about the parables. He said to them, "The mystery of the kingdom of God has been given to you, but to those outside, everything comes in parables, so that they may indeed look but not perceive, and may indeed listen but not understand. Otherwise they might turn and be forgiven." Then Jesus said to them, "Do you not understand this parable? How then will you understand all the parables? The sower sows the word. These are the ones beside the path where the word is sown. When they hear, Satan immediately comes and takes away the word that was sown in them. And these are the ones sown on rocky ground. When they hear the word, they immediately receive it with joy. But they have no root in themselves, and so they endure only for a time. Then when trouble or persecution arises because of the word, immediately they fall away. And others are those sown among the thorns. These are the ones who hear the word, but the worries of this age and the deceitfulness of wealth and the desires for other things come in and choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. But those that were sown on good soil are the ones who hear the word and accept it and bear fruit, one 30-fold, one 60-fold, and one 100-fold. He also said to them, Is a lamp brought in to be put under a basket or under a bed? Is it not to be put on a lampstand? For nothing is hidden except to be made manifest, nor is anything secret except to come to light. If anyone has ears to hear, had better listen." And he said to them, "Pay attention to what you hear. The measure you use will be measured out to you, and still more will be added to you. For to those who have, more will be added, and those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away from them." He also said, "The kingdom of God is like someone who scatters seed on the ground. He sleeps and gets up night and day, and the seed sprouts and grows, though he does not know how. The soil produces a crop by itself, first the stalk, then the head, then the full grain in the head. But as soon as the grain is ripe, he sends in the sickle, because the harvest has come." He also said, "How can we picture the kingdom of God, or what parable can we use to present it? It is like a mustard seed, which when sown in the ground, though it is the smallest of all the seeds that are on the ground, yet when it is sown, it grows up and becomes larger than all the garden plants and puts out large branches, so that the birds of the air are able to nest in its shade." With many such parables he spoke the word to them, as they were able to hear it. He did not speak to them without a parable, but privately to his own disciples he explained everything in detail. On that day when evening came, he said to them, "Let us go across to the other side." So they left the crowd and took him with them in the boat as he was. Other boats were with him. Now a violent windstorm swept down on the lake, so that the waves were splashing into the boat, and the boat was nearly full of water. But he was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. So they woke him up and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care that we are perishing?" But he got up and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Be silent, be still." Then the wind ceased and there was a great calm. He said to them, "Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith?" And they were filled with great fear and said to one another, "Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" Mark chapter 5, verses 1-43. They came to the other side of the sea, to the region of the Gerasenes. As soon as he got out of the boat, a man with an unclean spirit came out of the tombs and met him. He lived among the tombs, and no one could bind him any more, not even with a chain. For he had often been bound with shackles and chains, but the chains had been pulled apart by him, and the shackles had been broken in pieces, and no one had the strength to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs, and on the hillsides he was crying out and cutting himself with stones. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell down before him. And he shouted with a loud voice, "What do I have to do with you, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I implore you by God, do not torment me." For he was saying to him, "Come out of the man, you unclean spirit." Then Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" He replied, "My name is Legion, for we are many." He begged Jesus earnestly not to send them out of the region. Now a large herd of pigs was feeding on the hillside. And the demons begged him, "Send us to the pigs, so that we may enter them." So he gave them permission. Then the unclean spirits came out and entered the pigs, and the herd rushed down the steep slope into the lake and drowned in the water. The herders ran off and spread the news in the town and countryside, so people went out to see what had happened. They came to Jesus and saw the demon-possessed man, who had had the legion, sitting there, clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Those who had seen it described to them what had happened to the demon-possessed man, and all about the pigs. Then they began to beg Jesus to leave their region. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged him that he might be with him. But he did not permit him, but said to him, "Go to your home, to your people, and report to them how much the Lord has done for you, and how he has had mercy on you." So he went away and began to proclaim in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and everyone was amazed. When Jesus had crossed over again in the boat to the other side, a large crowd gathered around him, and he was beside the sea. Then one of the synagogue leaders named Jairus came, and when he saw him, fell at his feet. He begged him earnestly, saying, "My little daughter is at the point of death. Come and lay your hands on her so that she may be healed and live." So Jesus went with him, and a large crowd followed and pressed around him. Now there was a woman who had been suffering from a hemorrhage for 12 years. She had endured much under the hands of many physicians, had spent all she had, and was not at all better but rather grew worse. She had heard about Jesus, so she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his clothes, because she kept saying to herself, "If I just touch his clothes, I will be healed." Then her hemorrhage stopped, and she felt in her body that she was healed of her disease. Immediately Jesus realized in himself that power had gone out from him. He turned around in the crowd and said, "Who touched my clothes?" His disciples said to him, "You see the crowd pressing against you, and you say, 'Who touched me?'" But he looked around to see who had done it. Then the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease." While he was still speaking, they came from the synagogue leader's house saying, "Your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further?" But Jesus, overhearing what was said, spoke to the synagogue leader, "Do not be afraid, only believe." He did not let anyone follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. They came to the synagogue leader's house, and he saw a commotion, weeping and wailing loudly. When he had entered, he said to them, "Why are you making a commotion and weeping? The child is not dead but is asleep." But they laughed at him. Then he put them all outside, and he took the child's father and mother and those who were with him, and entered where the child was. Then he took her by the hand and said to her, "Talitha koum," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Immediately the girl got up and began to walk around. She was 12 years old. Then they were completely astonished. He gave them strict orders that no one should know about this, and told them to give her something to eat.